Who is 50 Cent? Curtis Jackson, known as 50 Cent, is a hip-hop artist and businessman who became famous for his streetwise raps and rags to riches life story. After an early life of crime, drugs and violence, he turned to rap, rocketing to stardom with the album Get Rich or Die Tryin' in 2003. One of the leading figures in early 21st century gangsta rap, with side projects including the hip-hop group G-Unit, investments in soda water companies and video games, 50 Cent has since branched out to become an actor and businessman. His career has been littered with feuds with other rappers, arrests and legal and financial difficulties, while his recent recording output has been sporadic. Early life. 50 Cent was born Curtis James Jackson III on July 6, 1975, in the borough of Queens in New York City. He was raised by a single mother in the neighborhood of Jamaica. His mom worked as a drug dealer and died in an unexplained fire when Jackson was only 8 years old. After her death, he was raised by his grandmother. Jackson had boyhood aspirations to be a boxer, and fought at the junior level, but began selling drugs when he was 12. At the age of 19, an undercover police officer arrested Jackson for selling 4 vials of cocaine, and when his home was raided 3 weeks later, police found crack and heroin. Sentenced to 3 to 9 years, he instead went to a boot camp and got his GED. At this time, he was already rapping and took on the name 50 Cent, which was the original moniker of a Brooklyn crook from the 1980s. Hip-hop beginnings. His first important contact with the New York hip-hop scene was an introduction to Jam Master Jay from the group Run DMC. Jay was impressed by Jackson's rapping ability and produced an album for him, but it never came out. Jackson also made a false start with the Columbia label, recording an album that was shelved before its release. That album, Power of the Dollar, was later bootlegged and showcases Jackson's confrontational style. On the track, How to Rob, he details plans to steal from stars such as P. Diddy, Jay-Z, Maze and Missy Elliott. In 2000, Jackson was the victim of a severe shooting incident that left him with multiple injuries. He returned to music after his recovery and made several low-budget recordings with his friends Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo, as a crew called G-Unit. Their efforts came to the attention of Eminem and Dr. Dre, who heard 50 Cent's Guess Who's Back mixtape in 2002, and signed him jointly to their labels, Shady Records and Aftermath Entertainment. Get Rich or Die Tryin'. 50 Cent's debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', was produced by Eminem and Dre. It was a massive commercial success that eventually sold 9 million units. Its gritty singles, including Wanksta and In Da Club, were underpinned by strong hooks that helped turn them into crossover pop hits. His personal appearance, muscled and tattooed, wearing a bulletproof vest and toting a handgun, was also a strong factor in his appeal, as was the fact that his lyrics were based on real-life experiences, in a game where most rappers' boasts are idle. His rhymes are average, but his lisp, his exaggerated delivery and the beats backing him push this collection over the edge, raved the Los Angeles Times. The Massacre, and other releases. Get Rich or Die Tryin' was followed in 2005 by another hit album, The Massacre, on which Jackson continued to rap about drugs, crime and sex on tracks like Candy Shop, and Just a Lil Bit. He started his own label under the Interscope umbrella, signing Lloyd Banks and Young Buck, and incorporating them into the G-Unit group on the 2004 album Beg for Mercy, which sold more than 5 million copies worldwide. Subsequent 50 Cent releases, including Curtis in 2007 and Before I Self-Destruct in 2009, achieved only modest sales. But by then 50